各位好，感谢前面2位巴西的专家，我想各位都应该可以感受到巴西的文化从政策面一直到数位艺术方面的多彩多姿。那请问在座的我们今天也有非常宝贵的机会，就是欢迎在座的与会观众来请教2位我们的Joseph 文化部的资深官员，以及Alexandre Ranger 这个数位艺术家。所以请问在场有没有各位朋友有可以提出你们的一些问题？请。
Okay, I'm a student from Zhongxin University and I study in law. I'm in grade 4. And I have a question for Jose Murilo. Is that for the creativity in Taiwan that the creators will always be worried about getting money from their creations? So I hope to know that in Brazil, how do the government try to let the creators to understand that they can earn money and both sharing their creations for the people. Yeah, thank you.
Hello. Could you repeat the specific question?
Okay, it is that how to let the creators to understand that they can earn the money and also share their creations for the people. Because when talking about sharing the creations from in the internet, the creators might be worried about the piracy or the other problems that make the people can use their creations without giving them money. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a very interesting question. Thank you. When we started working with the cultural hotspots and presenting the Creative Commons possibility for those young persons that were starting to digitize what they were doing and publishing on the internet, sometimes we were dealing with people that were not aware of the copyright thing. You know, they never heard about this, and they never heard that something that they created could be copied or should not be published because it could be copied. They started doing this with Creative Commons. Like naturally, of course, that what I create, I want to circulate, and I want if the whole world can see it, better for me. There was a very interesting situation when some of these kids were asked, "Okay, but are you not afraid that someone will copy your work?" And he would say, "No, I'll be happy about that." Of course, you are talking about something that somehow the business model for artists on the internet has kind of changed, you know. But somehow we want to emphasize that a content that is closed, it loses value on the internet environment. If anybody can seize it, it's nothing, you know. That's what we see. That's what we feel in Brazil right now. The minister, Juca Ferreira, is very aware that somehow the internet brought some problems for the business model of artists. And this is something that we are very... we will work on this very much in this term, you know. We don't have... Because if we open everything, really, there's a problem. But somehow we want to test the value of visibility. The visibility on this content can create new ways of new business models, in fact. You know, we know that, and we want to explore that. From what we were seeing now, it seems that the monopolist arrangement of the big internet companies somehow is extracting this value to a centralized power, you know, to a centralized corporation. This is what we now want to let's see, regulate. You know, we see a good space for a public policy reflection on how to regulate the competitiveness of these global corporations with local services and local networks and local arrangements of circulating of cultural goods. So your question made me talk so many things, but I hope that I answered your question. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, maybe I'll add on, follow up the question that he is asking. In fact, when we initiated, talk about this digital archive program, and also at the same time join this Creative Commons licensing model, we actually thought about the issues about this business model. And for the Creative Commons, I think basically the creation of the Creative Commons licensing model is just a way of allowing these artists here to sort of publicize their work. And of course, they set up their licensing model, whatever they want. They were sharing and everything. Enable other people to distribute it, because there are certain licensing restrictions, attribution and the license. Well, you can sort of share with what we call a copy, and you can share and freely share, and then all different 6 type of models there. But if you're talking about making money, in fact, this is what we actually, in this digital archive program, what we do there, basically what we do is that when we use Internet here to publicize images, but if the image is something that you have certain value, you like to sell, you would do a lower resolution image, put on the web. At the bottom, you said that if you like to have a higher resolution, we're going to, at a certain cost, you can contact us, contact a certain link there. So so you can use this low resolution here. Say, oh, this guy published it. But if you set up a Creative Commons model there, then people can share, can freely share without paying. But if you wanted to sell something, then you have to really specifically say it on the big mark there. You put the link there. If you like to do this, to buy it, to purchase at a certain cost, you contact this person. You have a contact person there. So this is how we set it up. Okay, this is how we do it, basically. That's I hope I answered your question. Okay, thank you.
And talking about business model, that's a question that I get very much. Can I use this microphone, please? People ask me all the time, oh, why do you give away your software? You're not going to get any money. And there's 2 sides to this. If I chose to sell the software, I would have many other responsibilities as far as making it foolproof and working on it full time, and I wouldn't be able to do it because I'm not a corporation, I'm just an artist. So the software acts like a business card. People see the software and they hire me to make the projections and to make other softwares. So the software that I make open source is like a proof of capacity, both artistic and technical.
Yeah, I would like to complement it because it's a very interesting issue. We are seeing right now a movement in the software development business, which is very interesting. The cloud thing, the infrastructure for the cloud of the internet demands a huge infrastructure in terms of scale, So we know that for Google to make the wonderful things that Google does, it needed to work with free software. Google works with free software. And somehow those developers that are working on free software, they have this ability that Alexandre said. They are known. They have the possibility of the code that they have written. It's signed by them. And they have this reputation which open the doors for new possibilities in terms of business, But a developer that's working in a closed proprietary environment or company, they are into the black box. They are told what they have to do, and they do not sign their code. So in this new business of software development, it's interesting because openness is somehow bringing more results in terms of the professional career of developers than the proprietary one. We can even say that the proprietary model can bring more money, but many of the times this more money is not more interesting than the developer to be known for the work that he's doing now. So we are seeing a kind of a change in this role environment, which is very interesting to observe, which calls for the quality of future that openness is showing for us in the digital environment.
喂，在场的朋友，也非常欢迎你们用中文问问题。那我自己先来示范，因为我刚好也有一些对那个Joseph 这边想要提问，就是在刚刚 Joseph 的演讲当中，其实巴西政府文化部提出了非常多的前瞻的一些政策服务跟措施。那我尤其是对于数位文化来说，这个基本上是在台湾看起来其实是非常非常赞叹跟难以想象。那尤其是举例来说，我们原本没有数位文化这个分类，同时在座的有一些是同学，我们其实在学校里面是文创系，或者是文学院，或者是不同的领域。那请问在巴西的文化部里面，当他们要推出这样一个前瞻性的，又用涉及到很多的技术的挑战的这一些做法的时候，你们是如何在文化部内部形成一些共识，甚至怎么样在面对 Google 或 Facebook 这样子的大公司的时候，你们还能够维持你们的一些观点，而不是被大的商业公司的方向引导你们的一些施政的一些做法。这个是我想要特别请教 Joseph 的。
Well, that's a hard question. Well, somehow we, from the digital culture crowd, we have this notion of the importance of being open, of being collaborative. And somehow, when we come into government, if you are looking for the public good, you are very comfortable, introducing these aspects of openness and collaboration and common platforms. It's somehow very connected with the principle of the civil servant. That you have to work for the public good. In the last years, we have seen, especially I talked a lot about the IT sectors in the public sector, IT, that somehow it was like aprisioned by the model of tercerization, third party, like just contracting the development of software and not having the intelligence inside the departments. And this was very bad. It was turned our institutions in more stupid institutions that could not think about what they need in technological terms in order to think about what would be the public policy. For example, this perspective that Google is occupying this important space that should be occupied by public policy. This is something that is so clear for us, But you're right, it's difficult to confront such huge interests. But as you saw, we have the lucky to I don't know if we're lucky to have the good ministers or we are successful in making them sensible to this thing. But as you saw, our minister was kind of doing a press conference telling the world that he would sue Facebook. And there was an interesting thing also. We had the visit of Google to offer us that platform of museums. I don't know if you know, it's a very interesting platform that Google is offering to museums. And the museums, it's a good offer because museums are not putting their content into Google right now. It happened once, but now the model is like the museums use the platform for their own content. But somehow the platform is closed. Google is giving it, but it's closed. It's a black box. And they came to talk with the other minister, not this minister, offering the platform. And I told our minister, please, minister, ask them to open the code. And then the conversation was going on, and then at some moment the minister remembered of what I said, are you going to open the code? And they were not expecting that answer from the minister, a woman, what this woman knows about openness and closed software, But their reaction was very interesting to observe, It was kind of scared, that the conversation could go this way. But that's what happened. The Ministry of Culture, I think, has this poetic license to be more free to confront these powers that maybe the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Justice will not be able to do. And I think that the Ministry of Culture has to use this power, this flexibility of dealing with these different aspects of culture and politics, and do this thing, do these provocations that I think are essential for us to have a new vision, a new vision of what would be really the digital culture in the first century, not the digital culture of the big corporations. This wouldn't be a good thing for us. But digital culture of us, like taking responsibility of determining what would be this future. I think that would be more or less the notion.
我想延伸刚刚的问题，就是想知道刚刚Jose 提到这个政府的数位文化这个界面，那在民间真正使用状况是怎么样？然后另外一个部分是文化艺术的这些工作者，他们使用的情况又是怎么样？他们如何去鼓励民间跟这些专业的工作者来使用他们提供这些界面？谢谢。
Well, our project, although it's very successful, I'm not able to say that it has achieved the scale of those big internet projects. It has made some important impact because it was dealing with important policies that were being developed. But we are not in any way competing with these big platforms, big international environments for social network, and not even close of what Google does with search. But we've done some experiments in order to make people sensible of these things that I'm saying here, of the situation that is not so good as we would think if we don't reflect a little more about it, So right now we are doing like prototypes, what we call the playable demos, what we call in game culture. We want to, with little projects, to demonstrate what we are talking about. Of course, we don't have right now, the infrastructure and the knowledge to build things that would compete directly with Google or Facebook. But we think that if we justify the reasons that we are proposing this specific public policy, we can gather new forces from the society. For example, I was talking about the telecom operator who is now funding the development of the free software that is the basis for the National System of Information and Indicators, which is a very open system that it's starting to be used by everybody, every state and city. It's starting, but it's getting lots of support, Even if it's not well implemented, as I showed in the slide, it's ugly, I could say. But the idea that somehow you will be responsible for that you are learning more, you are opening the box of what you're dealing, and you can think about how you can make that system better, it's very important. You're not a hostage of what someone else is thinking, I liked very much that Alexandre said about the importance that is for us to learn about code. I'm totally with him on that, There's an interesting book of Douglas Hushkov, which is called Program or Be Programmed. If we don't program, we'll be programmed. That's what's happening with us now. We are happy to have a box in an interface where we can write some things and push the button and publish that thing. It's ridiculous. It's very simple to do that, you yourself. But somehow the big companies are telling us that, no, stay with us. It's easy, it's beautiful, and you can reach more people. But what is the cost of that? That's what we're trying to reflect. We're trying to make people think. It's not just a craziness from the people from the digital culture of the Ministry of Culture in Brazil. It's something that we are starting to create a wave of reflection. So if you feel uncomfortable with that, let's try another thing. Let's try another situation, another arrangement. That's what we are saying. And we are having lots of good ears to this narrative. That's what is happening right now. There's not big numbers, especially because we had problems with the IT infrastructure of the government. We didn't have the support that we needed. But with the little support, with the little money that we had, I arrived here in Taiwan. I'm talking about Brazilian digital culture here, so we have something to say.
Hello, I'm from California. And I'm a big football fan. And so when I saw your country being defeated by German team last year, I was crying as well. And I just have a question here. We all know you're from a country with national passion in soccer. Have you ever encountered the situation where when you try to get funding from the government and you have to confront and you don't get supported? That's my question.
Well, I think that openness works on this too. Openness, transparency, all the public calls that we do at the Ministry of Culture. It's an open process when we do the public call, but when we're thinking about that public call, we open the idea, as I said, we release early, release often. The idea is released, we have the opinions, we gather these opinions, we build a new version, and if it's okay, then it's published. And the whole process is open, It's, okay, somehow we are giving up power. That would be a good way of seeing it. But the way that we do is that we feel that as a process that is enriching the idea. The basic idea was something, but then it got so many feedback that it got more connected with what people want. And this, for us, is the good thing, Of course, there are other groups, other people that come from the parties, that come into the government, they have another ideas, But somehow, the thing that we say and the thing that we do, and that's why digital culture in Brazil got this big, it's recognized and get support from the society. It's kind of a political movement, When Gilberto Gil left the ministry in 2008, Juca Ferreira, which is the new minister, came. We did that open consultation on copyright law. You come from California. You can imagine what we were doing, opening a consultation to change the copyright law, a law that is connected with many international treaties and which is conducted with iron hand by the U.S., What happened? In 2010, Juca was taken off of the ministry, We had at the moment a very big political movement that was Fica Juca, Stay Juca, would be like stay for the next term. But the president took him off. But Dilma, the president, had many other problems during these last years, And when it came to the new term, she called Juca back, Juca is back to the ministry. We are living in a situation where many of the things that we did are now destroyed. But Juca is back. And as you saw, it's starting by confronting Facebook. So we think that we're in a good way. There will be 4 years of much fun.
Hello. As you talked about football and the competition, maybe for grants, we are, I can call myself a small, not very known artist, and the competition that we get is from great corporations that want to give money to already well-known artists because that will generate more revenue and more publicity for them. So that would be the the main problem. Many of the investments go to the art as circus, as just entertainment, where it should be more leading towards, as I talked about, art as a tool for understanding the reality and the city and the society. So I think that's the main competition for, should I say, the intellectual art is the spectacle-only art.
在座还有没有同学或老师对两位有问题？吴老师。
I have a question for Alexandre. It was a wonderful and brilliant performance this morning. I'm curious about the subtitle of your performance. It's called Machine Prayer for a New World. And in this new world that you had pictured, it's our Longshan temple that is being sort of embedded as a background. And so I have this feeling that this new world that you envision for the future has a lot to do with Asian or East Asian cultures. Can you sort of enlighten us a bit about that thing that you are picturing? And that's first thing. And second thing is that I noticed this is quite an interactive sort of performance. Not only is it a cult, but also that it has to do with the remixing and recycling ideas that two of you proposed this morning. And so I was wondering how that recycling or remixing thing engage you with the soft power that every time you perform, the interaction with the audiences brings different impacts to you in your traveling around the world. Thank you.
Okay, at first, thank you for the compliment about the performance. And the concept that was behind it was opening a little bit and the comparison between two closed black boxes. One is religion iconography that we see everywhere, both in Brazil as in Taiwan, as I've been told. And many of us don't really understand those icons, but we let them lead many of our ways of living. And the other black box is programming, that many people think that's black sorcery is something very difficult to do. And this new world that I put on the title has different meanings. The West was once called the New World, but here we are in the East. But I talk about a new world that is not yet present, a new future world of new ideals and new forms of cooperation. So that's what I meant by New World. And sure, the interactivity on the piece is very strong. I try always to have this conversation with the audience. So it was very important to me to make the imagery of the temples present, and not only the angels and the gods. When I make this performance in Brazil, I don't usually include the Taiwanese images, but I thought that was very important because it united these two concepts of cooperation with between our cultures, and also because of this third black box that's not Catholic imagery, but Taiwanese temple images.
谢谢各位早上的参与，以及就是让我们热烈的掌声来谢谢这两位巴西的艺术家跟资深文化官员。那跟各位报告，就是对于在场的中部地区的朋友跟学校老师跟同学们，我们有那个台中2015台中软实力论坛的网站跟 Facebook， 所以关于今天两位讲者的全部的内容，跟我们在就是今天Joseph 提到的文化部部长这些传奇性的这些故事，我们都有整理在网站当中，也欢迎各位那个有任何进一步的问题，可以在上面，我们的艺术家跟官员都会也在网络上跟我们一起相逢。那 我的部分就谢谢到这边为止，谢谢。
谢谢两位讲者，也谢谢主持人。